On a Sunday where we wake up and we have an all-even World Series, and it's thanks to this man. You see what the Blue Jays have done in at-bats that end with a splitter. That just so happens to be Yoshinobu Yamamoto's milieu. Rolls over Nathan Lucas in the fifth. Back to the pitcher, a little 1-3 put out. Jay skipper John Schneider said he made it hard for us to make him work. He was in the zone. The split was in and out of the zone. Ernie Clement on the splitter. Over to Max Muncy to end the threat. Now we're in the eighth. Splitter getting Andres Jimenez, getting George Springer as well. Yamamoto had 8 Ks in this thing. He retired 17 straight through the 8th inning. And Dave Roberts was going to run him back out for the 9th. So when he starts the game, he expects to finish it. So in that 9th, Dalton Varsho was a problem in game 1. Dalton Varsho, not a problem here. It's too high. It's too high. It doesn't have the legs. Yamamoto, complete game 2 win. And when last we saw him, it was game 2 in the NLCS. And he won that with a complete game. Now, Oral Hershiser was the last Dodgers pitcher to have a complete game in the World Series. It was game 5 for the Dodgers to go ahead and button it up as he shared an emotional moment with Tommy Lasorda. Yamamoto, the first Dodgers player since then to do it, 5-1. They're all square in the World Series.
And our Buster Olney, he was on the call for last night's game on ESPN Radio, joins us now north of the border. Okay, Bus. I mean, Yamamoto threw his second complete game of the postseason, as you just saw the video there, bringing us shades of Oral Hershiser in '88. What stood out to you about his performance last night?
Yeah, after a bit of a rocky start, man, he put the Dodgers on his back. And that's the way it's going to need to be in this World Series. I think the turning point in last night's game came after the 3rd inning. He threw a fastball up and in to George Springer. He hit him. But it was like Yamamoto announcing his presence with authority to the Blue Jays hitter, saying, you know what, I'll pitch inside with my fastball. That completely opened up the strike zone the rest of the way. He threw 46 pitches in the first 3 innings, and we wondered if he was going to get through, 6 or 7 innings. And then in those last 6 innings, he required just 59 pitches. As I say, this is how it has to be for the Dodgers because the circle of trust for their bullpen is so small. Yamamoto was fantastic for them last night.
On the one hand, you go the distance, you save the bullpen. On the other, it's still the Dodgers bullpen. They haven't been nails necessarily rested or otherwise, and now game 3 shifts to LA, Buster. How should both of these teams feel tied up 1 game apiece?
It's a rare situation where I feel like both teams got on the plane west thinking, okay, you know what, we got this. If you're the Toronto Blue Jays, in the first 2 games, you demonstrated to yourself you can get these Dodgers starters out of the game early. That's what happened in game 1 when they faced Blake Snell. They wore him down, they fouled off a bunch of pitches, and they wound up blowing out the Dodgers in game 1. And on the flip side, if you're the Dodgers, you're leaving saying, hey, that vaunted Toronto offense, highest batting average, lowest strikeout rate, we can beat these guys. Yamamoto demonstrated that in game 2. Game 3 now, we have Tyler Glasnow against Max Scherzer. There's going to be a ton of energy on the mound.
Game 3 Monday night, 8 Eastern. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio featuring Buster Olney. Thank you, sir.
That was incredible, Lewis. And I asked you after game 1, I said, look, if Dave Roberts can just have Yoshi Yamamoto go out there and throw a complete game, and I was sitting here thinking, he's not really going to do it. He actually did it. It was a masterclass. What did you see?
It was a legit masterclass by Yoshinobu Yamamoto, man. We look back at the start against the Brewers, and you're like, okay, the Brewers don't match up the same as the Blue Jays, right? But the Blue Jays I think they had the right plan. They were.
And so often with guys with splits as their main secondary pitch, you say, well, if they don't have their fastball, the split's not good. It didn't matter tonight. The split was so good.
Yep.
He threw 34 of them, just 24 fastballs. The curveball was equalizer. I mean, you're looking at 76, 77 miles an hour, and then 98 on the four-seamer.
Threw on 69.
He was using the off-speed to set up his
final 20 that he faced. The mix, the match. What stood out to you?
What stood out is first inning, he had 23 pitches. At that pace, he's over 200 if he's going to complete a game. he was at 100. He cut everything out. He cut all of the nonsense out of throwing balls. He started throwing strikes and used the Blue Jays' strength against them. You want to make contact? Make contact with this one, and then how about this one? And I have another one. And there was no solid contact after the first inning, except for Kirk's line drive in the last inning. So he was special. He's getting paid $300 million.
Yep, $325.
He came over here because he was one of the best in the world, and he's continuing to prove that.
He was absolutely amazing. I mean, just an absolute gem. When you go complete game in this day and age of baseball, I can't say how special this is. I mean, this is special when you are able to go and watch a guy do what he just did. And when we talked before the game about he had never faced the Blue Jays, so certainly the advantage to Yamamoto because he could go out there and dictate the game plan. And you heard what Bobby said after that first inning where he threw 23 pitches, he settled in, and it was as if he was in cruise control.
Well, 5th inning, 6 pitches. 6th inning, 8 pitches. And then I think 12 the inning after that. And you said this is huge for baseball, the complete game, right? It's huge for his team.
Huge.
Because their Achilles heel is their bullpen. That is how they lose games, but not if you cover it up. And they did that against the Brewers, did it again tonight. Now you have an off day. Everybody's even more fresh after they travel out west and get ready for Game 3.
Yeah, that bullpen is on the plane. Was on the plane at in the 7th inning.
They didn't have to show up.
They didn't need to show up tonight. I mean, again, we talk about him throwing strikes, but it was efficient strikes. It was strikes on the corners. It was pitching to Vladdy's weaknesses inside. He missed. Well, we'll give credit to Vladdy on that 113 mile-an-hour ball he hit off the wall, but he was throwing everything efficiently. He read swing. Him and Will Smith are in sync, and that's another thing. Him and Will Smith, and you could see it after the game, him and Will Smith are just right here together. They are locked in together.
He didn't shake once.
No, you
So
trust
that's
you
a
trust your catcher. Yeah, you trust your catcher in that instant. Will Smith is one of the best in the game at calling a game and reading swings and knowing what's working for his pitcher. And tonight, everything was working for him.
Well, and it was Will Smith who gave him the lead right in that 7th inning, and it was on a 3-2 count. And we're sitting there watching, and Kevin Gossman throws Will Smith 6 straight fastballs, and we're sitting there go, what are you doing? He's going to get one.
He was living by his fastball with a great split and swing and miss stuff, but he threw 6 of them, 3 and 1, right down the middle.
Yeah.
Will Smith swung and missed, and he said, that's not going to happen again. And that inside fastball was a rocket into the stands.
And that was his first home run of this postseason. And you talk about that needing to happen because then a couple batters later, Max Muncy homers on a fastball, his 4th career homer against Gossman. We talked about how Max Muncy had faced.
Yeah, it was a lot of fastballs, right? And you get that timing. And Gossman's fastball was really good tonight. It was really good. Played off the split well. The pitch to Will Smith, he missed his spot. He's trying to go away. It was still on the black end. That's just a really good swing. The one Muncy hit out on the corner as well. Another great piece of hitting, which you expect from that lineup.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But what I noticed tonight is Gausman was kind of pitching backwards to maybe what the Dodgers thought he was going to do. And we talked about it during the game. The Dodgers in the hitters meeting was probably like, hey, listen, he's got a split. Okay, we know, but we can't let him beat us with that fastball. And all game, you saw him getting beat by that fastball. He was throwing fastballs right down the middle, and these guys were fouling him off, just missing. Freddie Freeman just missed. Looked like he might be, getting his timing back. But we were talking about it during the game. In the back of your mind, you have a plan as a team, but in the back of your mind, you're like, man, he still got that split. He still has that split finger no matter what. Your subconscious is like, man, you still got that split finger, and that's why you're a little late on that fastball. But he finally left one middle to Max Muncy and Will Smith, and they got him.
What was cool, Lewis, that you and Will were saying, hey, they've got to hit his fastball. They're not going to hit a split. And then Dave Roberts comes out in between innings and says, a little disappointed in our guys. They're behind the fastball. They're not on the fastball. Next thing you knew, they came out hitting the fastball in the 6th inning and Katie Barton.
Well, in pregame, we talked about Gausman threw more splits than any starter in baseball, 43%. He was 29% today. He was 49% fastballs. He was so fastball heavy, but talk about reading swings. He's like, they're not catching up to my 94 because they're looking for the split, as they should.
Yep.
As they should. But any good split finger pitcher will tell you, I want them to hunt my splitter because rarely is it a good pitch to hit.
And
Well,
usually they're not catching up on a fastball yet.
Right. Yet. Throw them enough. Throw 6 in a row.
Especially this lineup.
In game 1, they struck out 4 times. Here in game 2, they strike out 8 times, all from Yamamoto in the complete game as we go full circle. Look, this is something that we haven't seen in some 24 years. Kurt Schilling, the last to throw complete games in back-to-back postseason starts. Orel Hershiser was the last Dodger to do it in 1998 to go back-to-back postseason complete games. When you look at this as a whole, and you said it was huge for his team, what does that mean now that you are 1-1 heading back to LA?
Well, I mean, it's huge. We said it pregame. This felt like a must-win.
Yeah.
The numbers back up the fact that you go down 2-0. You don't win the series regardless if you're going home or not. So this is huge. They took all the momentum back. It woke their offense up. It kept the bullpen out of the game. And whatever guys they did want to rest, they got to rest. and I love that he went back-to-back complete games. This is, you played in Japan. You obviously spent a lot of time in Japan. That's the culture there.
Yep.
They'll go 130, 140 pitches because they're built up that way. It's not the 100 pitch mark, which is the imaginary mark
number.
here.
Yeah,
Right.
It's a scary number over here.
But he had another 40 pitches in him.
For sure.
He was still dialed in the 9th, throwing exactly where he wanted to throw it.
Yeah. And and over there, we talk about Japan, you know, Bobby, they hate walking guys. They hate throwing balls. They take pride in having control of every single pitch in their arsenal. Guys have every guy, it seemed like, had 7 pitches, and he has 6, 7 pitches tonight. He takes pride in making sure that he has control of all those pitches, throwing them where he wants to, and making sure you're not walking anybody. Both guys didn't have any walks tonight, but Yamamoto was lit tonight.
That one crazy other thought of Japanese pitching, they always have one pitch that they'll throw on 3 and 2.
Yep.
Because that's the pitch of reckoning. Something has to happen. It's 3 and 2.
Yep.
And Yamamoto broke out that slow curveball 3 times. Oh, what are we going to do with
And
this?
froze, guys.
Nothing.
Well, the command of that pitch.
Unbelievable.
It breaks
3-2.
6 inches more than the average curveball in Major League. I mean, you could see it, 76, 77, starting way above the zone, finishing below. How do you time that up when you have to be ready for 98? It's just filthy.
Well, it was a reckoning because the Dodgers did not want to go down 0-2. Now they head home tied at 1 game apiece, thanks to Yoshi Yamamoto, who was masterful. More than just 11 pitches per inning when you break it down. He finishes with 105. A complete game, 4 hits, 1 run, no walks, 8 strikeouts. As you take a look at the complete games in World Series history since 2000, the last coming courtesy of Johnny Cueto with the Reds. Yoshi Yamamoto putting on a clinic in Game 2 of the World Series to even it up at 1 game apiece. Back here with the boys, Bobby V, Will Middlebrooks, and Lewis Brinson as we look ahead to Game 3 of the World Series, shifting to LA, where, Will, I will mention that the Dodgers have won 3 straight home games in the World Series. So you're going into Dodger Stadium, you're feeling good, you're back on the flight, you're tied 1-1. What is your mindset?
Well, home field advantage is real, sure. All right, especially in Dodger Stadium. That place, you had that extra deck, that 5th deck. These young players who don't have a ton of experience in the postseason go there. I know they have George Springer to lean on, but there's a lot of guys on that team that haven't played in those big games in a stadium like that. There's no sound system either. We talk about that. The ground's moving under your feet with the music. They're going to feel it. They're going to feel that crowd. They're going to feel that pressure there.
They're going to feel that energy for sure. That speaker system is ridiculous. But, yeah, if any team could handle it, though, I think the Blue Jays will be good.
I like that.
Yeah, if any team is ready for this moment, especially George Springer going in a place where he rakes the postseason. So if any team could handle the pressure and handle the energy and the bright lights and the big stage of Chavez Ravine, it's definitely the Blue Jays, and I think they'll be ready, and I think they're going to match up well against Tyler Glasnow.
Bobby, how good are you feeling right now if you're the manager of the Dodgers? If you're Dave Roberts and you're getting back on the flight and you just realize that, you know, your mistake in Game 1 of going to Emmett Sheehan, maybe that wasn't the right decision, and now you roll out Yamamoto in Game 2. You don't have to go to your bullpen. He says, sit back, Skip, I got you.
David Roberts has been the best in the business over a decade. And he wanted to take momentum away from the Blue Jays. And boy, did they have it. They had excitement in that stadium last night. Every player was up as high as they could be. And in the first inning, with first and third and no outs, and Vladimir had to play. Are you kidding me? That place was rocking and the feeling couldn't be higher. And then the air was let out of the balloon. When Yamamoto set down 3 in a row, they scored 0, right? And the whole world changed.
I think that bottom of the first won the game for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
It did,
It
right?
decided.
Because a ball in play right there, it ties it up right there, right? And then maybe you get more, who knows, but Yamamoto made that.
And you know, Kirk hit a line drive.
He did.
That could have gone into right field,
Yeah.
first and third all over again. Instead, Freddie Freeman's there,
Right at Freddie.
shuts down, gets the second out.
That big strikeout by Vlad too. It really let the air out of the tires. Right
Both on the curveball.
Yep.
And that was the primary pitch that he used in Game 2 to even up the series at 1 game apiece. As we look ahead to the pitching matchup for Game 3, it's the 41-year-old Max Scherzer going to pitch against his former team, and then you're going to go with